Hey guys, what's up? It's the Mark here from Poolshed Games, and today I want to have a little conversation about the internet and how it ties into our hobby, and the good and bad things that can come of it. Now, I'm sounding a little better. I'm still just a little bit sick, almost over it. One of the worst colds I've had in a while. And part of that is what's brought me to this, because being sick, I didn't get to play any games this weekend. So I spent a lot of time online, checking out forums, and companies' websites, looking at things that are coming down the pipeline from different groups, and seeing where I might want to get involved in the summer or later on. And I want to start with forums. The online forum is a wonderful thing sometimes. It's a great place where you can go and find out information about anything that you can find a forum for. And in the wargaming hobby, such as it is, forums are really good because they get you people's opinion and people's views on the games. You can read battle reports, you can look at pictures of models, you can do all that great stuff. But the other problem, I guess the flip side of that, is there's so much negativity sometimes, and it's just ridiculous. Now, when I played 40k in fantasy, I spent a lot of time on Warseer, and I liked Warseer. The painting and modeling forums were fantastic. You go on there and get great ideas and inspiration for to paint your minis, whether you were painting 40k Space Marines or fantasy dwarves or whatever. There was just some amazing armies on there, and the forum with for fiction, for writing stories. The Lichlord and I were involved in a great thread on there. It was kind of a role-playing storytelling thread where everybody kind of took turns telling the story of a system that was embroiled in this massive conflict, and there were Space Marines and Chaos and Grey Knights, and it was fantastic. Just great community interaction between all of us that were writing that, and it was a lot of fun. The rumors section there was great because you go in. It was a little bit better back in the day when GW was a little bit more open about what was coming next than they are now, but it's still a good place to go to find out things about what's coming. And they kind of have that for other systems, but Warseer is for the most part a GW forum. It's what the gaming system they're dedicated to. Now, you move from GW, Warseer, which is kind of a fan-run community forum, and then you have the company forums. Spartan has their own forums, Privateer Press has their own forums, and Corvus Belli with Infinity I think they've opened it up and made 2 or 3 community forums their official forums, but I've spent time on all 3 of those. I haven't been on the Privateer Press forums in a long time because kind of swung out of War Machine for a little while. We still play it, but just not as much. And Infinity is the same thing. I haven't really been on the new forums, so I don't know entirely how they are. I've been spending a lot of time on the Spartan forums, and mostly in the Planetfall section, because, like I said, one of the guys in our gaming group, he picked up the 2-player starter set and an extra core helix, so he has three forces. I'm going to get the Terran core helix and probably heavy helix, so we'll have enough forces for everyone in our group to play. And I've been spending a lot of time on that forum, so I wanted to get a feel for how the game plays. I wanted to get a feel for what the models look like, because I love Spartan games, but the pictures they have up for that line especially don't do it the justice it deserves. So, I've been looking at a lot of cool pictures of people's painted miniatures, watched a couple of unboxing videos, read some battle reports, downloaded the free rulebook, read through that, and I've been trying to gauge how what the condition of the game is. And here's where the negativity comes in. And let me just say, I think there's a difference between expressing a concern for a different. If you think something doesn't work in a game, that's one thing, and you can express that just fine, whatever. But if you continue to just kick the dead horse, and you don't seem to provide any evidence that your situation, your opinion has changed, or you've tested your hypothesis, you're just being negative for the sake of being negative. And I've run across that a little bit in the Planetfall forums, with some people just vehemently proclaiming one faction is just head and shoulders better than the others. And I've looked at the stats, I've read the rulebook, and while this faction in question seems to be rather powerful, I don't think it's better than any of the other factions. To use an example of the one time I felt that a faction was completely head and shoulders above other factions, and this isn't a Spartan game. Way back, when Spartan first hit the scene, they released Uncharted Seas. And Uncharted Seas was a fantastic game. It was a lot of fun. The problem, however, was as the fleets went, and as the fleets kept going, my gaming group noticed, all of us, that one fleet had a distinct advantage above everybody else, and that was the orcs. Because the orcs had forward-firing guns, and it was just so much easier to keep your front towards the enemy and hammer them with these massive amounts of attack dice. And on top of that, they had massive amounts of boarding crew. So even if you got close or you tried to get around them, they could just ram and board you. And it was always an uphill struggle playing against the orcs. Didn't it mean you couldn't beat them? No, but they were a little bit silly. But you compare that now to what Spartan has done with Planetfall, and I don't see it. The other thing you have to remember is it's a living rulebook. The stats change; they're changing all the time. I guess they made updates to the free rules they put online compared to the rulebook, the hardcover. So they're testing and playing and fixing things all the time. And I think sometimes that part of the problem with forums is we are focused so much on the little picture that we have that we don't zoom out and look at the bigger picture when it comes to gaming in general. And if you're a new player and you're going onto a forum to get an idea of what this game is like, what the community's like, and you come onto these threads talking about changes to the stats, updates to the armies, and you see a handful of people that are just so vocal about how bad they think it is, you might get put off. And granted, the community as a whole, in the Infinity forums, the Privateer Press forums, and Spartan forums, you have people that will mitigate this, that they talk about things, they help to explain. It's not as bad as it seems, it's not as bad as people want to make it out to be. A thing to remember, I didn't exactly know this until I had read some of the threads on the forum. The Planetfall rules are being playtested for things that aren't even out yet. So the playtesters have access to units and abilities that aren't out in the basic releases so far. So what that means is, when balance issues are addressed, they're not addressed specifically for what's out right now. They're addressed for the game as a whole. Now, is that maybe not the best idea? Maybe. I mean, if you're going to address imbalance issues for things that are going to come out a couple months down the road, and it might make things a little wonky in the meantime, it might not be the best of idea, but it's an important thing to keep in mind, and it's always changing. And the other thing I want to say, especially for company-run and operated forums like the Privateer and the Spartan ones, it's always good when you have direct involvement from the company that runs the game. So Spartan Neil, I've seen him post before, and a couple other the guys that work for Spartan Games. They come in, they post, they try to answer questions. Privateer Press, they had, I don't remember what they were called on the forums, but they would come in, Infernals, and they would give rulings. Like, you could get an official ruling on a rule in the game on the forum. So that was always really good. Infinity, you had interaction, and even like in role-playing games, Mutant Epoch, on their forum, the guy that made the game is incredibly active as well, and I think that's fantastic. Because I think if you're a company and you're not going to be active on your forums, or have some branch of your organization to be active and talk to people, you're missing out on a great opportunity. So, all in all, forums are a double-edged sword. They're really good because they help people get an idea of what the game is going to be, what it might look, what the models look like with different paint schemes in the studio paint job. They can read battle reports, wrap their heads around the idea of what are people doing with the game, is it going to be a successful game. But then you have the bad side of that, which is, some people will come on and just bitch and moan and complain, and sometimes people have legitimate complaints. And those are things that people need to hear. But other times, it's not legitimate, and it's just the same old song and dance over and over and over again, because maybe somebody's favorite faction got a bump down and they're not happy about it, or maybe they're not winning games. It's human nature is what it is. And lastly, when it comes to forums, if you have some interaction from the people that make the game, it makes you feel more involved with the company, which makes it feel like a stronger community, and it makes, at least for me, makes me feel more invested in the game and playing it in the long run. So that was just a random ramble of something I wanted to talk about that I thought of while I was sick. So if it was terrible, blame it on the cold medicine. If you guys liked it, leave a comment, maybe talk about some of your favorite forums, give us a like, subscribe, share us with your friends, it always helps. And we'll see you next time here at Bullshit Games.